How concerned are you about this?
Extremely, right? And not just the water systems, but the power grid, the telecommunication system, our banking system, transportation. The interesting thing is here, if you asked this question, if you said to military and intel officials in Washington, D.C., if you asked them 20 years ago, what are you most worried about? What are your top crises? What are your top concerns here for national security? The state of the infrastructure, the frailty of the infrastructure across the board would always be up there in about the top 5 positions. Russia, China, of course, Iran. But you'd have the infrastructure issue and its vulnerability to either physical attacks or cyber attacks, sabotage. So it's not a new issue, but it seems as if some parts of the U.S. government are just waking up to this, right? Not all of them. Others have been focused on this for some time. But it is a significant problem because Russia, China, Iran, any nation that's got the ability has been out there probing and mapping our infrastructure for years. And they're doing it for a very specific reason. They're putting together essentially a playbook for if there is a global conflict, what do they do? And what they're going to do is take the battle straight to the home front. And this is it's a real problem.
I go through, I don't know if I've seen too much zombie apocalypse stuff, but I'm thinking about what things would be like if our water grid was poisoned, even just in one part of the country, because then everyone else would still be freaked out as well. You go 3 days without water and you're dead. So like, how much would people just freak out if that got compromised?
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, I don't think you can ever watch too many zombie apocalypse movies, Mike. So I have not hit that point.
You're on everybody's zombie apocalypse team, by the way, just so you know, right? Like everyone's got their team. And I don't know what I bring to the table, but you're the top guy. There's no question.
And so I'll have people lined up the door to go into the walk-in safes to get their gear, and we'll all head out. It's interesting because I think when you talk about this issue, when you talk about how do we safeguard this? How do we protect against this problem? Again, and it's not, I don't want to just stop at the water systems because, it goes across the board, and it won't be just a siloed event, right? It's not as if they're just going to say, okay, again, I'm talking a major conflict. I'm not talking about a one-off attack by a state sponsor or a terror group or whatever, but I'm talking about if there is a global conflict of some sort that draws the U.S. into it and a major hostile nation is on the other side, it'll be multifaceted. Right. So they'll go after transportation, they'll go after electricity, they'll go after water, because they're looking to create maximum instability and chaos on the home front. And I think we've all seen, maybe we haven't, but I think a number of people watching have been in those moments where the power's gone out for 2 or 3 days because of a storm, a snowstorm, hurricane, whatever. And, we've seen what happens. People the first day or two are like, yeah, it's kind of fun. We're camping, get the kids in the living room. We're all sleeping with candlelight. Then, maybe you're in a climate where it's cold. You think, okay, I got to get a generator, or I got to get some flashlight batteries, or I got to do. You go to the store and people are looking a little crazy-eyed, right? Because now it's been 2 or 3 days, and most people aren't used to a lot of discomfort, and they're starting to get a little worried. The shelves are empty of water and bread and milk, and so it wouldn't take much. And if you imagine the power grid going down for 2 months, shutting down the ability to move cash, food can't get to the stores, fuel's not being delivered to gas stations, you got a problem with water. It's not a particularly good scenario. Now, you'd like to think that people in those moments of difficulty rally together, but I'm not sure if that's what happens. So I don't.
No, human nature takes over fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I'm just saying, parents with babies who need water for baby formula. I just the panic and freak out would be crazy. So the question is, do we have the same capacity to shut down China or Iran or Russia, the players that are doing this against us? Like, is there that mutually assured destruction, or are we so vulnerable? Because the Biden administration said that some of these water infrastructure systems have the passwords set to the default password. The passwords are password. Like, that's how insane we are.
Yeah, the password is water. So it is. It's a great question because, yes, the answer is we should all hope we do, right? Because the reason I say that is because every time I talk about the threats posed by another nation that doesn't have our same interests at heart, people, some folks roll their eyes and go, well, we do the same thing. It's always a whataboutism, right? Well, the U.S. does the same thing. Well, you better hope we do, because it's not a community of nations, out there, as much as we'd like it to be. And so, are we doing the same thing? Do we have the same abilities? Well, look, I rank us up at the top of the heap in terms of our abilities to engage in offensive and defensive measures, whether it's in cyberspace or space or normal traditional battle environments. So yes, and we understand the severity of it. I do think we're a little bit late to the game, certainly on the defensive side. When we're talking about the safeguarding, look, we built a power grid system. You got the East, the West, and Texas. And we got 3 power grids basically in the nation. And they were kind of cobbled together over the years and the decades, right? Never with the idea that we've got to build these things to withstand terrorist attacks. That wasn't the mindset years ago. And so there's an awful lot of hardening of the perimeters and of the systems that needs to be done, but that is an enormously costly exercise. And it also requires local and state and federal government to unass the sofa and actually get it done.